Oh, man. Oh, man.
Everybody's looking for a story worth living. Everybody. The human heart needs a story worth living.
And suddenly I get a call that the trip is happening. Not only that, we're collecting motorcycles.
Good. Nice and light on your bar. There you go.
The first time I rode a GS bike was about 2 months prior to the actual trip.
I've never done anything like this in my life.
Okay guys, this is the route that we're gonna be doing this week.
We're going 11 Mile Canyon to the Globe and Anchor Ranch, then Bighorn Canyon down to the sand dunes, Wolf Creek Pass over to Durango, then Million Dollar Highway, Engineer Pass, Tin Cup, Leadville, Trough Road onto our ranch to the Wyoming border. It's 1,000 miles through some of the most gorgeous country you'll ever see, and it's going to test you big time.
The better the trip, the better the story. You kind of wonder, do we do all this stuff just so we can tell the stories? Does that make our life feel more meaningful?
We are 5 miles up this mountain, and the bike doesn't start up right away. At this point, going crazy enough, feeling bold enough that I pushed JD to let me try and ride it without any power off the mountain.
And just to give this context, like I had an engine and he was going significantly faster than me. I had to race to try and keep up because he was doing such a good job just carrying his momentum through, because he knew that there were some uphills and some water crossings, so he just killed it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So then, to make a long story short,
Right.
we've got hours to get...
It's not just that people love stories. Have you noticed? Story is the way we make sense of things.
Oh! What was that?
Well, so we were going along and go off the berm and then suddenly have this experience of like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to go off a jump. I don't know how to jump. I'm watching my front tire just kind of turn in the ugly and like, no, this is all wrong. This is all wrong.
Story is the language of humanity, the language of the heart. It's why people love movies so much. Everybody loves good stories. Now here's the big idea. If you're going to make sense of your life, it's going to happen through story.
We've been created by a storyteller, and that creator has created a creature who's not only bound to our own stories, but bound to other people's stories and bound ultimately to the great story. So our life and our story is somehow not only inscribed in terms of how we relate to others. I mean, you can't have a past without memory, and memories are just a settling of story. You can't have a future without some sense of anticipation, which is a kind of hope for what a story will end up to be. So as you think about your whole life, even your ability to remember facts, I mean, neurologically, we understand more so today that you don't just remember cognitively, you actually remember narratively. So our whole life, from the beginning to the end, is all about story.
We want to tell you a story about your story. Everyone is looking for a story that makes sense of their life.
Feels so freaking good.
And like most stories, this one got a little out of hand. We got ourselves in a little over our heads.
Okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3. I like that. That could have broken my leg in half. I know, it just... Hang on, that's correct. Yeah.
Which is a lot like our lives, really. Most of us feel in over our head at some time. How do we make sense of it all? Out here, we also found something else. We found a lot of clarity on the story of our own lives and the story we're living in.
Because it wasn't that I had a bad day fishing and anything. I said, I don't know, and then out of my mouth came these words, I'll never find him out there. I had no idea that all those years I was looking for my father on the river.
Norman MacLean said that sometimes the best way to make sense of your life is to find a story that tells you about your story. Think about it. When they tell the story of your life, what kind of story do you want it to be?